Welcome back, DuPage.
Reverend Barbara Ross here.
Chad Earl here.
And I'm Larry Love. And we're here to talk about an important segment of our 4 pillars. We previously talked about health. Chad talked in depth about nutrition. We talked about conditioning. Now, this segment of the video is going to be allocated towards talking about recovery. What does recovery actually mean? Recovery is a way of the body to reset itself through a series of intentional actions or just simply rest. And so what we're going to do today is we're going to talk about some subject matter through questions that you all may have that either Chad or Reverend Ross have experienced, and we're just going to go from there. So,
right. So a lot of times, Larry, people think that the best part or the most important part to their routine is the part that deals with the intensity, that deals with the ability to push through the pain. So can you talk about that mindset and how people kind of keep pushing through and they kind of minimize recovery? I don't have time to stretch, or I didn't quite eat my food today, but I'm here to work out. What that does over time to somebody's progress.
Yeah, that's a great question, Chad. You know, back in the day, they used to have this term called no pain, no gain. And unfortunately, a lot of that has been passed down, and it's so incorrect because the pain that's in your body, to push past that, creates an inflammatory response. And a lot of those inflammatory markers come from not giving the body a break. Also, toxic thinking, not giving your mind a break. Your mind is constantly going, constantly going. Your body's constantly going. So you build up these toxicities, and, you know, more specifically, we call it inflammation. So it's real important if you're exercising, if you're being active, if you have a high intense day, to take time to just pause. For one is to pause and just breathe. Take breaks throughout the day, but at night especially, you know, you want to make sure you get proper rest. And in addition to that, you know, if your body is hurting, and hurting is a term that that's subjective, but if it doesn't feel like it should, it's okay to take a break. That's your body trying to tell you that it does need a break.
Great. Larry, you know, a lot of people also have told me, hey man, I want to get there faster, and so if I do 2 workouts or if I go longer, will that make my progress faster?
Yeah, so another great question. So a lot of people confuse time with intensity. So the longer I do something, the better results I'm going to get. And often that can lead to what we call overtraining. Overtraining over time is actually going to break down the body. So how do we counteract that? We ensure that we have a proper plan, which we've shown you throughout the previous videos, but also intensity. How hard are you doing something? So a perfect example would be, instead of doing, you know, 1,000 push-ups, maybe you do 10 push-ups and limit that to 20 seconds of rest. Do 10 more push-ups till it adds up to the, you know, desired number to get your results. So intensity is really the key. Overtraining is what will get you injured. So we're looking for injury prevention.
Great. I think, Larry, another mindset people might have with recovery is that, hey, if I take too much time off, you know, I'll lose the progress that I've made. Yeah. I don't want to take any days off. I don't want to lose anything. So, you know, what's too long to take off if somebody is looking? And I know these domains vary by cardiovascular health and resistance with musculoskeletal. Let's say I've been running for a couple of weeks or months, and now I need to take a couple of days off. Will I lose all my conditioning that I gained?
Yeah. One of the bigger fallacies, especially with runners, is they believe if I don't run every day that I'm going to lose something. Actually, you know, if you run and you take a couple days rest, that's actually beneficial to your body, not only to the joints, not only to the muscles, but it also allows your mind to relax. When it comes to any type of progression or resistance training, that's why they usually have splits of Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. You have about 24 hours of rest in between, and what that will allow your body to do is to regenerate and break down the muscle fibers, repair them, and so when you go to doing more running, doing more resistance training, you're actually building the body up in the correct way.
Great. Great.
So I love walking,
Sure.
and I've heard some people say walking on the treadmill or kind of equals to walking outside.
Sure.
Is there a difference in walking on the treadmill inside or walking on a track outside? Is there a difference?
Well, there's a huge difference, but the one commonality, they both are movement. So that's the beneficial piece to it.
Okay.
The difference is when you're walking on a treadmill, something's moving for you, okay? When you're walking outside, you're doing all the motion, all right? And from a recovery standpoint, walking is a great way to recover, actually. So if you have high intensity of doing a lot of running, or if you're doing a lot of strength training, walking would be a great way to kind of introduce a low level and low impact level of recovery. That's what we call active recovery.
So for a person who can't get outside,
Sure.
walking on a treadmill is still beneficial, though.
It's
They still gain something.
It's very beneficial because it's movement. And one thing that I want to employ to everyone is that, exercise doesn't always have to be holding something. It could be just movement. Movement is what we want to keep in mind.
Okay.
Great. Great. Larry, when we talk about recovery, there's physical, there's emotional, psychological. I mean, can you provide a couple of framework from physical, from emotional, from psychological? Let's start with a couple of things you can do at home during this COVID crisis to recover physically if you have some aches and pains. What can I do to help my body out?
Yeah, so physically to recover, there's things that we call modalities. Modalities are just a fancy word of aids to help increase healing. So, for instance, if you're sore, you may want to ice. If you have a joint that happens to be restricted or needs to be warmed up a little bit, maybe you could put a warm compress on it. So ice is to decrease inflammation. Any type of heating would be to increase range of motion or get the body warmed up. And then there's things such as Epsom salts baths, which is basically magnesium and its minerals to really help detoxify the body, to take away any type of soreness, cramping, and it's been around forever. So those are some things that modalities that you could use.
Great, perfect. Yeah, and they're also low cost. I mean, ice in the water, you can do that. You can make your own heat compressor. You can get a hot water bottle heater, heat those up for you. But now you have these different tools, so that's great stuff. Again with the COVID, people are around their kids a lot. Might be around their spouse more than they're used to, and so emotionally, boiling over here and there. Are there things we can provide people emotionally to help them recover? A couple of things they could do emotionally?
So emotionally, obviously we're in this shelter-in-place mandate.
Yes.
And for those of us who are in a house with multiple people, this can be a crazy time of just kind of, trying to, keep our distance. But meditation is a great way to emotionally optimize your body. In addition, reading. It's almost like what we see is what we take in. And if there's something positive that we're reading, positive that we're listening to, positive conversations, those create a great emotional state. In addition, a great way to recover is to journal. Journaling your thoughts. Most people journal their fears, but how about we journal our positive affirmations of, I'm going to be happy, I'm going to survive this COVID-19, I'm going to be healthier, I'm going to feel better, I'm going to talk more positive, I'm going to listen. All these affirmations, write them down, and they become emotional sustaining, and you have a great recovery mindset. Remember, positive things decrease our stress. Stress is inevitable, but the type of stress that we have, I think a lot of times the actions we put into it help decrease stress.
Great. These are all
Yeah.
great points. Physically, you're Epsom salt soaking, you're icing, you're using some heat. Emotionally, we're journaling things down. We are reading. We are meditating. Psychologically, there's a lot of people right now with fears, and you're watching the news, and am I gonna keep my job? Am I gonna be able to go outside? My favorite restaurant, gonna be able to do that? Am I gonna be able to travel again? A lot of these fears now are seeping in, so psychologically, it's kind of weighing me down. Are there any type of psychological strategies that somebody could try to implement? And again, we know emotionally there's some dovetail there, but what can somebody do to kind of keep their mind in a place that can it can get overwhelming sometimes?
Sure. So, in the environment of being sheltered in, it's hard to, just escape, so to speak. That's why we want to introduce exercise. Mm-hmm. Exercise is a great way to take you away from all of those what ifs. Okay. The other thing is to remember you are not your job. That's what you do. Okay. That is not who you are, but that's what you do. And when you have a foundation of understanding who you are and understanding that there are certain things that, you deserve. You deserve to be healthy. You deserve to have a certain amount of recovery, a certain amount of downtime. So use this time not as a time that's a punishment of, oh man, I can't work, I can't go this place, go that place. Use it to your advantage. Use it and shift your thinking to understand that, hey, I just have a restructuring of my schedule. Now my restructure of my schedule allows me to rest, get more time with my family, get more time to meditate, get more time to talk to God. We're always on a run in our fast, rat race society. Mm-hmm. All of these things that we want to do, we can now do. And your mindset and mind shifting psychologically, that's the greatest form of recovery right there.
Perfect. So then there you have it, DuPage family. We've tried to provide you with a structure to help you manage the COVID epidemic, to help you be able to work out in your home, some cost-effective strategies from a dietary standpoint, some recovery techniques you can implement that are low cost and available to you. And so we're excited to bring these to you. And so we now want to go around and provide some closing thoughts as we hopefully see you in church in a few weeks. Reverend Ross?
Yeah, so I want to thank you, first of all, for taking part of this. While we're shut in, I think another thing we want to think about are the elderly and those who do live alone. Mm-hmm. Just the fact that you're living alone already and then you can't go out, I think, is there something that we want to really kind of address and speak to that? Because so many changes at one time. I mean, now even funerals are different.
Right. Mm-hmm. Every aspect of life is
you
different.
can't even have a regular funeral and mourn and, graduation. We have so many that's graduating in 2020.
You're right.
So these are the types of things we hope to kind of help you with through these fitness initiatives, just to help you to relax and trust God. Trust God in all of this, because none of this is a surprise to Him.
Sure.
So.
DuPage Nation, I want to try to leave you with the fact that as human beings, we can decide a lot of things. Yeah. It is within our own capacity to change. And so we can't live a life that's risk-free. We can't stay home enough. We can't sanitize enough. We can't avoid high-risk areas enough to decrease our risk to zero. And so for me, I think the strategy that I want to try to to bring across is that you're going to have to do something to optimize yourself. You have to move the needle from a high-risk position in your health to that of low risk. And so this is a perfect time to reconnect to a healthier lifestyle choice, reconnect to better and more fruitful relationships so that people aren't running you down and being negative. And so try to switch, as Larry pointed out, this uncertainty, something that you can count on. And that is a personal commitment to improving yourself and living closer to God. And so be positive, be encouraged, and try to make these changes best you can. And so you can live with more confidence and more health certainty.
In closing, I'd like to add that, in the past, legacy has been thought of as what we leave. I like to believe legacy is what we live. And there's never been a greater time to live the life that you want to live. You have time, you have the support of your family around you, and you also have different guidelines of how to improve yourself. It's not just exercise. Health is not just about exercise. It's about being a better you. How do you do that? We've given you several examples today. I just hope that you take advantage of it. And again, it's not meant to be a job, but it's meant to be a lifestyle. And your lifestyle is worth it. God has made you to be one of His, and He will always take care of you. So shift your thinking and understand that we're not a victim, but we're victors. Don't worry, be a warrior, okay? And if you're a warrior for Christ, you will be okay. And so in this closing message, I just want you to know you're able, you'll make it, and you're more than enough to survive.
Thank you, DuPage. We'll see you soon.
Bye.